Are you ready for the book I'm going to write on the themes of this channel? But now let's go elsewhere. There's a man on the train. He has earphones in, yet the music still leaks out, tinny and metallic, an irritation that fills the air like an uninvited guest. No one says anything. The woman beside him closes her eyes, not to sleep, but to endure. The man stares out of the window. He has never wondered whether anyone might be listening. Not because he is cruel, because he has stopped looking around. You leave the station and walk into the city centre. A boy rushes past, something at his mouth, then a spit. Onto the stone. As if it were nothing. As if that pavement were just any place and not the place where everyone walks, where children fall and get back up, where the elderly set down their sticks with care. They are small things. No one dies because of spit on the pavement. No one is harmed by music blasting on the 7 in the morning train. But every time it happens, something thins. Something that held people together, that made them feel part of the same world, wears away. Slowly. Silently. Like fabric wearing thin each time you rub it with dirty hands. Kindness is not a virtue. At least not in the abstract and distant sense the word carries. It is not something to hang on a wall like a painting. It is a language. And like all languages, it is learned as a child, lost if not spoken, forgotten if no one around us uses it anymore. Saying thank you. Not the quick, automatic thanks that slips out like an exhalation. The thank you that looks someone in the eye. The one that acknowledges that on the other side there is a person who has done something for you. Saying sorry. Not as a defensive formula, not as a shield to protect yourself from consequences, but as an act of recognition. The one that says, I have seen you. You are here. You take up space. And that space matters. Giving up your seat. Lowering your voice. Stepping aside on the pavement when you meet someone who walks more slowly. These are not decorative gestures. They are signals. They say I know you exist. They say your time, your body, your space are worth as much as mine. This language has a long history. Longer than any border, any flag. In Japan there is a word with no direct translation into any European language. It is called omoyari. It means the ability to sense what another person needs before they even ask. It is not empathy in the psychological sense. It is something older and more physical. It is the glance that lifts before the word. It is the hand that moves a moment before the mind has decided. In sub-Saharan Africa there is the concept of Ubuntu. Something like I am because we are. The individual exists the moment he recognizes the community that contains him. Not as a renunciation of self, but as the condition of being. Nelson Mandela lived it for 27 years in a cell. And when he came out, he did not bring hatred. He brought that word. Confucius, more than 2,000 years ago, wrote that the foundation of civilization is Ren. Benevolence towards others. Not strength. Not conquest. Benevolence. For Confucius, the wise man is not the one who accumulates power. He is the one who treats others as he would wish to be treated. A rule we find everywhere. In the Hebrew scriptures. In the Gospel. In the Quran. In Kant. Everywhere someone has tried to understand how to live together without destroying one another. We have forgotten that this common ground exists. This code that belongs to no nation and to all of them. The body of kindness is made of minimal gestures. There is a scene that comes back to me. An elderly man getting onto a bus with a heavy bag. A young man with headphones who does not stand up. Not out of malice. He did not see him. Or rather, he saw him, but did not cross that thin boundary that separates seeing from recognizing. To recognize is the verb of kindness. To recognize that that person carries a weight. That his legs are less steady than yours. That his time in the world is more limited. That he deserves something other than the back of someone who never turned around. The Japanese bow their heads even on the telephone, even when the other cannot see them. It is not a cultural quirk. It is the sign of something that has become embodied before it has even entered the mind. The outward form of the gesture carries respect within it. The body does not lie. Abraham Lincoln, on the night before an important speech, met a shoeshiner in the corridor of the White House. He stopped. He greeted him by name. He asked how he was. The shoeshiner replied, astonished. Lincoln laughed. That evening, before thousands of people, he delivered one of the greatest speeches in American history. But the gesture that matters, the one no one photographed, is the one in the corridor. The name spoken. The gaze that had paused. And the ruling classes? Those who decide, who negotiate, who sign, who appear on television screens with a perfect tie knot and carefully crafted words. There is something irreparably broken in the way they behave with one another and towards others. An arrogance that is no longer even aware of itself. It has become naturalized. It has become the air of power. The politician who interrupts. The executive who does not reply to employees' emails. The leader who mocks his opponent in front of the cameras. The entrepreneur who does not remember the names of those who have worked for him for 10 years. These are not private failings. They are public signals. They teach. They show what is normal. They tell anyone watching you can do it too. Power does not need to be kind. And so kindness stops looking like strength. It begins to look like weakness. Something for the weak, for the naive, for those who have not yet understood how the world works. But the world does not work like that. Or rather, it only works like that when we allow it to. Mandela said that a leader must be like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock. He lets the fastest animals go ahead. And meanwhile he keeps them all together. Not with force. With presence. With attention. There is a code that exists before any law. Before any constitution, before any international treaty. It is the code of how we treat one another when we are in the same room. Or on the same train. Or on the same pavement. It does not depend on religion. It does not depend on culture. It does not depend on income. A child knows it before anyone teaches it. He feels it in his stomach when someone treats him badly. He feels it in his chest when someone, unexpectedly, treats him well. That sensation in the chest. That small rush of warmth that comes when a stranger holds the door open for you. When someone picks up something you have dropped before you even notice. When a voice on the telephone says, "Wait, I will stop, I am listening." That rush does not lie. It is the sign that something deep within still knows how to distinguish. It knows how to recognize the gesture that says you are here. You matter. You exist in the only way that truly matters to exist, in the eyes of someone else. Kindness is not improvised. You do not decide on it in the morning the way you decide to put on a jacket. It is built. Day by day. Gesture by gesture. The way a language is built. The way a civilization is built. It starts here. With the music turned down on the train. With the pavement left clean. With the elderly woman offered a seat without her having to ask. With the word thank you spoken through the eyes. And it reaches there. To the tables where wars and peace are decided. To the rooms where laws are written. To the offices where people are hired or dismissed. To the cameras switched on before which someone speaks to millions who are listening. It is not naive to think that kindness can change the world. It is naive to think it can change without it. Everything that builds endures. Everything that degrades passes. But while it passes, it burns. And it leaves its mark on the walls. On the pavements. In the ears of those who were on the train and said nothing. Kindness is a choice. Not the grand, dramatic one fit for a novel. The small, daily, almost invisible one. The one no one sees you make that does not end up in the papers, that receives no applause. And yet it is the one that holds the world together. The one that makes people get up in the morning and decide to remain here, together. On this noisy train. On this worn pavement. In this life that is far more bearable when someone, even just once a day, looks you in the eye and says, without words, I have seen you.